Hey, what's up everybody? I know it's been a while since I've done a video. I was feeling a little bit uninspired, but recently I've been trying to crack water. This one is not too crazy by at least my standards. You can see I have the typical hydro pump list. I think wishy-washy is a lot better now. The 180 is more significant with the double energy band because that means that the regular Snorlax is hitting for 160 when it has a DTE. It needs some kind of damage modifier. A couple things to note is that I have a reversal energy, and it's because I'm feeling like I want to test that with the Whale Lord, even in a typical Hydro Pump versus a special energy build. One tech I always run in this is Counter Catcher because you normally start from behind. I always like Hex, Avery, and Acerola, just some power cards because you're playing this as a power deck. Otherwise, you go more into aggro water. This Squirtle is because it has built-in bench barrier, so I'm trying that over the Accoblubber. I actually am just pretty much saying I'm going to take the lightning loss because I tried to tech for it in a tournament and I still lost, despite my board state having Manaphy and Chaotic Swell. He just hexed me 3 times because of Versus Seeker and Palpad and that whole gang. So I'm just giving up on Lightning and just saying I want to make sure I'm good into something like a Raging Bolt or other snipers. And then finally, I cut Lapras because it was good at responding to the Fan Rotom, but it wasn't really doing anything else. You never wanted to attack with it outside of your first attack. So ideally the first attacker, if they boss around the Basculin, is you can respond with this Bascu Legion. Before that I had Vulpix and then the 1 energy Palafin that does Hydrojet. I still like that too, so I'm not really too undecided. I think Scoop Up Net is a staple in Water List. Rare Candy I play even if I don't have the Baxcalibur. And I'm actually playing a couple different ways to be able to get the energy. So Professor's Letter and Earthen Vessel and Capacious Bucket, because I'm finding a lot of times I just need to get the energy aggressively. So if you have those 3 outs to it plus the reversal energy, that's just a great way to get the energy. And then we also have the economy with a Skater's Park. So you have to make sure that you are always being mindful of parallel and how to play around it. This actually puts the energy back into your hand when you retreat. So that's typical with a Wishy-Washy, a Kyogre, maybe a damaged Whale Lord. You can do a couple cool things with that. It also just makes an attachment to an Inteleon a U-turn board because you get the energy right back to hand. So I really like the Skater's Park. I know it's kind of greedy to not play Chaotic Swell, but you got to keep trying things because honestly, Hydro Pump as it is needs some improvements. So this is, I think, one of the craziest games I've ever seen because of the prizes that you saw on the YouTube thumbnail. And I know that's a little bit of a spoiler, but I remember seeing that and almost scooping. But I think one of the cool things about GLC is that even though it's a singleton format and you have bad prizes, it really tests the player of how to play around it. Speaking of players, I'm playing against no slouch. This is Accoblubber, who you've seen this medal list from some full grip streams. This is the guy that made this list. It's a turbo medal list that just sets up with these bulky but also powerful basic attackers. And then the engine is Jirachi and Bronzong. I've played with it a lot, and I realize one weakness of it is that it does not have Revavroom. So you want to try to go for a late game N or Iono to 1 or 2 to brick them, especially if they don't have the escape board on the Jirachi. There I see my prizes, and sorry to skip over this a little bit, but I'm just getting set up here. So you can see, this would be a good board state, and I go for the Squirtle over the Snom because I'm thinking at least I could get the War Turtle down. And with the Heatran, with the Muscle Band, that's great because he can do Guard Claw for 50, perfect math to knock out my Basculin. And then he takes 30 less damage. I'm not going to be swinging this turn anyway, but this is the problem I have with Bascu Legion is, okay, great, my bench stayed still, and they're not going to be knocking that out, but I don't have a response. I'd have to maybe Raihan to Inteleon, but I like teammates more because in a perfect world, that teammates would have been a Rare Candy Blastoise. So I try to Counter Catcher and stall. I also have Whale Lord to try to stall, thinking I can recover it later. The Counter Catcher stall does not work. That's kind of a bummer because that's a good resource. And the Whale Lord stall does not work. So the Squirtle goes down. That's fine. There's a little bit of bait. And then here I'm thinking I'm going to Guzma. So let's try to get something else stuck. And then the Kyogre can take out the Heatran. It also clears off the energy. So that'd be nice because if they evolve into the Bronzong, then that's a retreat cost of 3. So that is what he's going to do. But you can see the Scoop Up Net is in hand. Notably, I took a prize there, but I did not get my Frostmoth or my Blastoise. So that stinks. And I actually did have access to get town maps, so that was a misplay on my end. I grabbed, I think, that reversal energy here on the Kyogre because I was still trying to figure out my plans. I was playing a little bit too fast, perhaps, and was thinking I was going to go in with a Whale Lord when I just didn't. I went with a Kyogre. So his Iron Crown clears my Kyogre, speaking of which. And now, oh, I'm sorry, I must have been wrong. I did have the reversal for the Whale Lord, so I grabbed that maybe earlier than I wanted to, because maybe the town map would have been better to set up something. I'm not quite sure what was right, but you know, this does at least work out, because actually his board state's pretty sparse here. I was able to knock the Artisan for the Brooklet, so making him have to do the Quick Ball and Night Stretcher to find the basics, because there is only, I think, 4 or 5 basic attackers, which is actually a strength, because trainers are the most strongest cards in the gym leader format, I would say. And then honestly, these days decks with less attackers actually do best. I think that's one of the reasons HydroPump is faltering, and where I think this Whale Lord's really healthy for the archetype. You need something like this that can tank a hit. So he was able to gust around the Whale Lord the first time I had it in the active, but this time he cannot. And it's even more of a threat because I have the reversal and that water energy. And you can see I finally get the Blastoise out of prizes. Woohoo! So really happy about that. He has the Escape Board Jirachi Heatran, powering up the Zamzenta. Notably, the Zamzenta with a Muscle Band can take out the Whale Lord in a one-shot. So that's a really cool thing about the metal deck. I actually haven't had that happen to me. Because take, for example, this game, the Muscle Band to do that early pressure on the Basculin for the KO, I think made sense for him. But then, unless he Alana's Rods it back, which he does play, then I don't have to worry about it. So here's my end to him for 2. And like I mentioned, this is a strong play against metal because if you look at his hand, no more draw engine, and there's no Revavroom or anything like that. So that's a note for if you're trying to beat this archetype, because this archetype is very popular. I see it at Full Grip and online in general. And I have the pleasure of playing Acco about every night. And it's just one of the things I kind of picked up on. So here you can see I'm stalling with a Wishy-Washy because I didn't take the knockout. The Zamzenta wasn't able to take a KO. And here's where we get into a really cool checkmate. I'm attacking with the Inteleon. He Guzmas up my Octillery. That really hurts because with the Inteleon down, this is my last consistency piece on board. You can see I have the double HydroPump people in Blastoise and Frostmoth, but the Octillery going down really stinks. The energies get shuffled back in, so that's good. I don't have something 10 away from getting KO'd, but that really shows the strength of the that big fish, the Wishy-Washy. The Inteleon takes it down. We go 1-1. And then here you use Escape Rope. I go, ugh. I have to send up the Kyogre, which has a retreat cost of 3. So he goes with a Lux Cape. And Kyogre's who I want to attack with here, but I have to find all my energy. You can see I had the superior energy retrieval, but I have none of the energy left in my discard. It's all in the deck. So he goes to research, goes for his last 5 cards in deck, and oh no, none of them are energies. So while I could just win off of decking them out, you see I just go for the Capacious Bucket. And just to show him, I do have the energies here to make sure we can close out the game. So I think there's a lot that could be said about this game. But just to say, never give up in Gym Leader Challenge. Don't complain about your prizes too much. Expect that they're going to be bad. Maybe play Town Map. And in Water, maybe even play Gladion. Let me know your thoughts on HydroPump on Water. And if you want to see more Water decks, I've been recording a lot of games with them recently, trying to figure out the type. And be curious to know what you guys are cooking with it. Thanks for watching.